What's up? How you doing? So today I'm going to be doing this look, and I'm going to be telling you a story about a guy chasing me in his car, trying to kill me. No, I'm kidding. They didn't try to kill me, but they did threaten us, and I'm just going to tell you that stuff. So if you want to see this look and you want to hear that story, then stay tuned. When I lived back in South Dakota, I had this friend. We'll call her Raven. And there was this boy, and we'll call him Daniel. I was over at Raven's house because I was spending the night there. And this was when I first had gotten my car, so I could drive now and I could drive other people. Our parents were pretty laid back, so they would kind of just let us do whatever. It was probably 8:30 at night, and we wanted to go get ice cream. There was this boy that had been trying to talk to me for a while, and I didn't like him, but he liked me. And I was actually kind of mad at him at that moment because I didn't really want him to keep texting me. I was just like, whatever, we'll pick him up. So I asked him if he wanted to go, and he was like, yeah, of course, because obviously, he liked me. So we go into town, and it's like a 20-minute drive, and everything's good. And I'm going to pick him up, and he lives pretty far away because the town that I lived in, there was different sides of towns. So he lived on the south side, and we lived 30 minutes away from that. This guy was kind of notorious for, how do I say it? He didn't have a filter. He didn't know when to stop saying, he didn't know when to stop, I guess. And so that was another reason. I think that was why I was mad at him, because he had made jokes about this mentally disabled girl, and obviously that's not okay with me. And so I called him out on that. But I just don't know why I don't know why I decided to pick him up. So I get to his house and I pick him up, and he's already just saying whatever he feels like. And so we're starting to go into town, and we're driving, and we get to the place, and like I said, it was 8:39ish at this time. In our town, we had a lot of drunks. There was always drunk people out on the side of the road. I mean, I guess that's kind of everywhere, but here it was especially notorious to see people drunk downtown. So it was kind of a scary place to go at night. And so when we got there, we saw all these people that were drunk, and we're just no, we're not gonna go here. The majority of the people were either white or Native American. We had a lot of Indian reservations around, and so obviously there was more Native Americans around. That I picked up, like I said, he had no filter. Okay, this just makes me mad. But it made me really mad in the moment when he was doing this. I actually yelled at him. But when we were leaving the place, there was a lot of Native Americans there, and he was yelling out racial slurs to them. And obviously that makes me mad because obviously that's not okay to be doing that. And so I was just I think I called him Daniel. I was like, Daniel, why are you sick? Stop. And obviously when people are drunk, they can lash out. Some people are angry drunks, some people just don't know how to behave when they are drunk. So obviously that's scary. What if the person that he was yelling things out to was had a gun or something? They could have shot at us. Anything could happen. And he just didn't realize that, and I was just what are you doing? And I remember looking in my rearview mirror, and he was throwing up signs. I don't know, he just needs to realize that you can't just do that in some place. You're gonna end up getting killed or beat up or whatever. At this point, I was already really mad at him, and obviously because he was saying racial things to them and doing that stuff that didn't only put me in danger but put everybody else in the car in danger. So we left the place because of the people that were there, and we decided to go to the other side of town and go get McDonald's. There was a high crime rate on the side of town, I guess you could say, and a lot of stuff happened over there, and I didn't know that. I mean, like I said, I didn't really go places at night, and I had just gotten my car, so I didn't know. I had missed the turn, so I went into so there was the gas station, and then there was the McDonald's right here, and the road was right here. So I turned into the gas station, and I was coming across the parking lot, trying to go into the McDonald's drive-through because we were just gonna get ice cream there. And so, you know, there's Daniel in the back and then my girlfriend in the passenger seat. And so, like, I'm going across the parking lot and there's another turn and lane. And these people just come flying out of nowhere right in front of me. And so, like, I slammed on my brake and I laughed because, like, when I'm nervous, I laugh. So I laughed and we all like screamed because, like, you know, I didn't see these people and these people just flew into the parking lot and I almost hit them. So obviously that was scary for me, and like I just laughed it off. I was like, okay, whatever. These people aren't gonna do anything. Like nothing happened. Whatever, it's fine. So like my car was right here and they were right here, so they drove off. And there's McDonald's, so like I go over and I'm like getting in line for the drive-through. I hear someone yelling and like I was like, what the heck is that? But I just like was whatever. And I look in my rearview mirror and these people pull right behind us. And they're yelling at us, and I'm just like, what the heck is going on? And, like, the guy in the back seat, Daniel, he was like, that's the people that you almost just hit. And I was like, what? And they were like, yeah, he's yelling. And they were, like, yelling, and I could hear them. And they were, like, telling me, like, to get the F over, like, pull over, get out of the car. Like, just all this stuff, like, acting very obviously mad, but I mean it wasn't my fault. They came into the parking lot full speed and so I was like, what the heck? And they were scaring me. Like obviously I'm this 5'2" little girl, and you know the girl in the passenger seat, she's like 5'2" too, and the guy in the back seat, obviously he probably wouldn't do anything, and I already had a feeling about that. So I'm like, what the heck? And they're like, go go go. So I like get out of the parking lot, and like at this point I couldn't really get out because there was a car in front of me, so I couldn't get out because they were blocking my way. And so I'm like really scared. And so like I get out of the parking lot because the people pull up, and I get out and I get to this light, and like I run this light because like these people are still following me. They're trailing after me. They're yelling. They had their windows down yelling at us. And so the girl in the passenger seat, she has like anxiety, so she was like shaking and we were all screaming and we were just freaking out because like obviously nothing that ever happened to me like this, and I didn't know what to do in this situation. Like I don't have anything to defend myself. I don't have a gun. I didn't have pepper spray at the time. I didn't have a knife. I didn't have anything to defend myself if like something happened where they could get into the car. And so like they're like, just try to lose them. And so like I'm taking all these turns, and I'm just like I don't know what to do. And the girl that was in my passenger seat, her dad's a cop, so she calls her dad first, and he's like, what are you doing? Like, you need to call the cops, like, you know, tell them where you are and get to somewhere safe because these people could hurt you. These guys are still, you know, I'm right here, they're still after me, and I'm trying to take all these turns and lose them, but I can't lose them. And so like I get on the freeway like hoping that they'll just like, you know, forget about me and leave. But no, they keep following me. And so I take a turn and I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna go to my work, which was mistake number one. And I was like, I'm just gonna go to my work. I know these people are big guys. Like my boss was huge, so, and he has like a felony record and stuff. So like I was like, you know what, maybe he'll help me. Like I'll run inside, I'll get him, or you know, we'll all run inside. And so like at this point, if you guys have ever been in a situation like this, like you let your nerves get the best of you and you make stupid decisions. There's like this road that you go to the road and then you take a right, and then my work was right there. So we were on that road and these people are still chasing after us. They're flashing their lights at us. You're like doing all this stuff. They're just trying to scare us at this point. And at one point we were driving and there's another lane right next to us, and they come right next to us and they start like yelling like cuss words at us and all this stuff, and they're flashing lights at us like their phone lights, and they're taking videos of us. And I'm just like, what the heck, like what is your guys' problem? Oh my gosh, like seriously. And it was a woman, like a 30-year-old woman, and two males that were like the same age, and they're like, pull the F over. And so I'm just like, oh my gosh. So I get into my work, or I pull up to my work, and this was mistake number 2. I actually pull into a spot because I was gonna run in and grab my bosses and be like, can you please tell these people to leave, like leave us alone and all this stuff. And like I was tight with my bosses, so like it wasn't, you know, like they wouldn't be mad that I would do this. But anyway, so I pull in, and as soon as I pull into the parking slot and they pull in right behind me, so I can't get out. And like I said, when you have nerves and all this stuff, you can't really think straight. So I was just like, oh my gosh. And I made sure like all the doors were locked and all this stuff. And little did I know that this entire time that we were driving, the guy in the back seat was still instigating stuff. He was throwing up signs, and I did not know that. And I found out because next thing you know, these 3 people get out of the car and they're up at our windows banging on my car. And we're all in there like, oh my gosh. My friend's still on my friend had by this time called the cops. And so we were on the phone with the cops right now. And I was just like, oh my Lord, I don't know what to do. And they're like banging on the windows. One guy's at my window, one guy's at the back window. They're like, this little MF was throwing up signs at us and blah 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 blah. You almost hit my kid and like all this stuff. I'm just like, dude, chill. Like I did not even almost hit you. Like you were way farther away. I slammed on my brakes and it was your fault for pulling into the parking lot and you know whatever. So I was just like, are you kidding me right now? And I was like, I'm sorry, sir. Like it was my fault. Like I was just taking the blame because I didn't want him to. I just wanted him to leave. Like I was just gonna own up to it and be like, whatever. And just try to get him to leave like as fast as I could. And it didn't work. And he just kept banging on my car. And I was just like, this is not okay. So at this point, I was just kind of getting mad. Because I was like, are you seriously going to be banging on my car? Like, this is my property. Like, and you've been following me for the past like 20 minutes just because of this incident. I'm like, something's wrong with you. And like, I look him in the eyes because he's like leaning like towards my window, like where I am. I look him in the eyes and he's like, his eyes were just bloodshot. So like at this point I knew, you know, they were either high or they were on drugs or I don't know what they were doing. They could have been drunk or whatever. He's like, look at the car. You almost hit my kid. You almost hit my kid. Like that's all he was saying. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like, yeah, it was my fault. And they were talking about fighting the kid in the back because of like the signs that he was throwing up. And all this stuff, and I was like, no, we don't have to do this. We don't have to do this. And like I said before, I had reached behind me and like locked the door. And my car's manual, so I had to do everything manually. And so the guy that was at my door was like, I want this little bee to get out, blah blah blah. And he opens the car door. And at this point, I'm just like, oh my gosh. And the guy in the back, like Daniel, he like scoots over on the other side because he's scared. Like these people are gonna fight him. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And no one was speaking up in the car. No one was like, you know, trying to defend us. So me being me, I get out of the car. I was like, we don't have to do this. And like, so I'm face to face with this guy. I'm out of the car. Like they could have done whatever they wanted to me. And he's like talking about wanting to fight him. And I was like, no, stop, like, we don't have to do this, like, it was my fault, and, like, I was still, you know, that's just all I was saying. And he's like, what's your name, And I was like, I just gave him a fake name, and he asked the guy in the back, like, what his name was, and he gave him a fake name, too, because, like, why would we give them our name, like, no. And so they're just, like, trying to scare us at this point. I think they just thought it was funny that they were, you know, whatever. I was like, my friend's on the phone with the cops, like, and they're on their way here. We can figure it out when the cops get here, but just, you guys need to chill. And as soon as I said that, they were out. They got in the car and left. And I think it was just because they were high and they didn't want to get caught or they were drunk or whatever. I was extremely mad after the whole thing because 1, they were banging on my car. 2, I was just mad that I was the only one speaking up. Like, no one was trying to speak up for themselves, and I was, like, the only one that, you know, was trying to defend us. And 3, the guy in the back seat, like, why would you throw up signs, and why would you, like, what is the point of that? Why would you do that? Like, that is just, especially when they're already chasing us, and, like, they're yelling cuss words at us, and, like, threatening us and stuff, like, why would you do that? And so, like, at this point, like, I turned around, I was like, why would, like, you know, I just kind of, like, told him off. I was like, why would you do that? Like, that's so stupid. We call her dad back, and, you know, he's like, what is going on? Like, are you guys okay? And, we're like, yeah, we're fine. We called the cops. As soon as we told them that, we called the cops, they left. And we were kind of just, like, shaken up. My hands were shaking because I was so scared. So he's like, okay, well, I want you guys to just come home right now. Like, you know, obviously, to just come home right now. So we get to our house, and we were just all shaken up about it. And I didn't drop him off at his house because I didn't want to have to go on that side of town again. And so I get to his house, and her dad agreed to take him home. We get to the house, and we're just talking to his parents about it. And he's a cop, so he knows, like, all this stuff happens and stuff. So, but yeah, I mean, it was scary at the time, but now that I look back on it, it's kind of like a learning experience, because now I know not to just pick up random people, or not random people, but just people that, you know, obviously I know are stupid. I would just recommend to get, like, at least one of those pepper spray keychains, because, like, that could actually be a lifesaver for you guys, or for you. Yeah, it was definitely an experience, and now that I look back on it, it's kind of funny just to, like, I'm just, like, imagining, like, all the people, or all of us in the car, we were all screaming. Thank God none of us got hurt. We could have so easily been hurt, especially when I stepped out of the car, because they could have, like, stabbed me, or, you know, whatever they wanted to do, they could have done it. Sorry for the super abrupt ending of the story, but thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the story, and I hope you guys enjoyed the look. I am planning on filming more makeup tutorials, but for the meantime, I think that this will do. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I'll see you guys next time.